now it's like I need the viral moment. So I need to say the craziest fucking thing I could think of. I could fill up a fucking stadium with the amount of songs that I've only heard the 4 bars. Naturally, if you see success, you think, okay, I just got to do that. So the next new artist, they like, I just got to do that. I just got to do that. And then when they finally get the opportunity, they get signed and all that, you figure out that most of them aren't artists.
Absolutely thrilled to welcome in today legendary recording artist from Compton. It's The Game.
What the fuck? I love when I don't know who he's gonna roast the guest as.
Yo, what?
It makes it so much better.
I was like, what is he talking about?
It's you do kind of look like The Game.
Come on,
The Game?
LA Confidential.
I've heard I look like a lot of people through
Such
my
as?
timeline.
Let's hear it.
Cameron.
Okay.
Ah, shit. Killer Cam would have been way better than The
Wood
Game.
Harris.
Okay.
YG. There's a few more I can't think of off the bat, but I've heard I look like different people throughout my life.
We'll let the comments decide if The Game is at least close.
No.
Nah, man.
I borderline want to start over and do Cameron, bro. I'm not
Nah, it's all good.
Nah, in all seriousness, we have someone who's risen the ranks from the mailroom to the One More Time podcast, folks. We got the EVP of A&R at Quality Control Music QC. Wayno Clark in the building.
What's good, everybody? What's up,
Yo,
y'all? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling?
We are great, man. It's been a hell of a week.
Mm-hmm.
We've done back-to-back interviews, so I'm a little tired, but I'm excited for this one, man.
This could be a good one.
Yeah,
I'm excited too. I love to talk, man. I like what y'all guys are doing.
And you guys actually have some shit to say, I feel like.
Always, man. My mom used to always tell me that I need to join a debate team. When I was a kid, they used to send me down south to North Carolina on my family. Like, all my family in North Carolina wanted to send me back to New York because they was like, you talk too much. So this shit worked out for me.
Or talk too fast, probably, right? Like, coming from New York.
That's the New York shit.
To North Carolina, they're probably like, yo, why do you talk so fast?
It depends. Yeah, like, I can talk fast, but I don't really talk too fast. Like, people who talk too fast from New York is trying to get over on you, usually. Yeah.
No, but so we've had, a bunch of A&Rs on the show, and I feel like everyone's definition of A&R is slightly different. So I wanted to get, your take on like what it is that an A&R does, just so we set the stage for the conversation.
You know what? I mean, what y'all said is right, because I feel like each and every one of us do different things. I've been around A&Rs who are like super duper duper in the studio. I'm talking about from the lyrics to the beats to the songwriters to progressions with guitar, every type of way, right? And then I've been around A&Rs that do absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying? So for myself, I say like it's not just discovering talent, but it's like helping curate the talent to become something, bigger than what you discover.
Yeah, it's funny, man. I mean, you said it best. There's a lot of A&Rs that just don't do shit.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of, I don't want to take nothing away from nobody, because there's a lot of people who do shit too. Like it's tons of people who do the work. And I think that like the narrative, like for up and coming developing artists who before they get signed is like, because somebody hasn't discovered you that A&Rs ain't doing their job, which you can't know all things at all time. If that was the case, then I hit the fucking lotto every week. You know what I mean? But it just goes like that.
Yeah, it's funny, man. We had Deshaun Vincent, who's an A&R over at Sony Publishing, and he was like, there will be no A&R bashing on this podcast. Because I feel like you guys do catch a lot of grief, right? Because there's some like bad apples, I guess, where like they aren't doing shit. So it's like,
and it's like a cool title. It's like entrepreneur.
Is it like jealousy?
I'm an A&R.
Like everyone's just envious?
I think that everybody just like the perception of people who don't work, like this is my living, like I make a living off of music, like, you know what I mean? Like that's what I do. For the people who don't make a living off of music, like their perception is based on like a movie they saw or a story that they heard, and like, or what they hear on Clubhouse, and everybody there is an expert, right? So I think that for the most part, when it comes to A&R, and it's like any other profession. You know what I mean? You got those who don't, those who do, those who don't, and those who watch. And that's how it pretty much goes for me. Like listen, even if you ain't doing shit, if you getting 6 figures and you ain't doing shit, more power to you.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? So,
teach me your ways.
Facts. But at the same time, it's like, I do appreciate the people who put the time into the craft. Like, there's a lot of people who put time into the craft. And I think the biggest problem with A&Rs is that with the new artists, they think that they supposed to know everything. Like, or if by the time you find out, you're a dick rider. Like it's been artists that I didn't want to sign, and I'll just be like, oh, this is dope, and I'll find their page, and I'll be like, yo, this is dope, and here come the people in the comments, oh, you dick riding now, like you don't know nothing about this. I'm like, I don't. That's why I'm fucking showing love. You know what I mean? Like, but you can't win everything. So it is what it is.
People on the internet specifically love to hold you to your original opinion.
Oh, that's a fact.
Like if you said something or thought something or passed on an artist or whatever the fuck the case is, and you just change your opinion months, years, whatever time. It's like you're fucking dick riding, or like you're
the new dick riding now. It's glazing. That's the new one.
That sounds crazy.
Oh, God.
But like it's like, come on, man.
So that's what those comments mean.
Yo, bro,
Just
12 people passed on Kobe Bryant. 12 people passed on Klay Thompson, Devin Booker, like the list goes on. There's so many, like Giannis Antetokounmpo, like it's so many people that got passed on. You can't know any and everything. And the thing about potential is you can't have potential forever. So it's like, I always look at like music is like drafting, right? It's like, okay, when you look at a certain draft class, like I've picked ones that had tons of potential, but the potential didn't meet the talent and it didn't turn into anything. And then I've picked some that have worked and are working towards being something. So you can't know everything. That's just not life.
So the ones that had potential that didn't end up making something of that potential, what do you think were the common themes of what went wrong?
Man, shit. How do I count the ways? I think like, just being honest, man. I think that like, even being an artist, like artists have a perception of what the music business is, and then you hear like this, the industry, like it's this fucking building or something that everybody abides by and lives by these certain rules. Some artists like money. I say money is like the biggest downfall to a lot of artists. You know, like everything that's happening with like Ja Morant. I don't want to divert too quickly, but a lot of people saying he has so much money and he hasn't like accomplished anything. It's the same thing for music. It's like a kid could make a song in their garage or in their crib, and then tomorrow everybody's offering them $1 million deal, and they've never even had a thought leading up until that point or what they would do with $1 million. And then I also feel like in life, like not even music, we're trained to believe that like that the word million means so much, and it doesn't really mean as much as you think it does. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't last that long.
It doesn't. And shit, 1 million views is not 1 million people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
true.
It's like, but it's a trick. Like, it's all these things as a trick. And I think like the biggest downfall I've seen by the ones that didn't work is like they made a couple dollars and then they thought that they was on top of the world, and they didn't even get a chance to like really emphasis on being an artist. You know what I mean? Like being an artist is that in itself is creating art and putting it out and getting the good with the bad. A lot of them just want the money, and when the money comes and you don't know how to maintain it or build it, and that shit goes, is like now you back doing whatever you trying to live up to what people perceive of you.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's like a slippery slope. I feel
that's
like
a bad place to be in.
It's like trying to catch that fucking magical dragon that you can't do. So you kind of alluded to this. You quite literally can make a song in your bedroom on your iPhone, blow up, assumedly overnight on TikTok or whatever, right? How do you, as someone who's the EVP of A&R at, a historic label here in Atlanta, how are you working to combat that one-hit wonder, that like short-term success and build career artists? Like, what's the plan?
Because I don't care about like numbers. Like I don't look at, oh shit. Now don't get me wrong. Like I'm not against research. Like a lot of people are against research. Like, oh, research don't mean nothing. Research, it just gives you a gauge on like what people are into or not. Right. So like it's stuff that I find on research that looks really good, and then it's stuff that you find on research that doesn't materialize. So like I didn't like at QC we have an artist, SCY Jim. Right. I didn't.
Yo, is that Claudia's
artist? Yeah.
Yes.
So
shout out Claudia.
Yeah, shout out to Claudia. That's my girl.
Yeah.
But like I didn't personally sign SCY Jim, but like he was always doing good on research, and every time like his we would have research calls, he will always pop up, and we used to be like we used to call him Spicy Jim because it's SCY. We didn't know what it meant.
I didn't know that it was SCY. I thought it was Saucy Jim.
Yeah, I think it's Stack Cash Youngin or something like that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
But with Jim, like he just always kept coming up, and then it was okay. The music is good. We met him and his manager Blue Cheese. Shouts out to Cheese, and we had a good conversation, and it just materialized into, yo, y'all got something really good going on. And that was like something that's good that's working out of research. Then you get shit with research that's just like a flash in the pan. Not juggle. I don't want to say that. I go back and forth about like what should actually be done, right? Like, because even as a business, you got to find ways to keep the lights on, right? And I had this conversation with my man Justice from LVRN, and like this was a few years ago, and I was like, man, do you sign like the one hit wonder, or do you like try to build the talent like from the ground up? And he's like, you gotta do everything. He's like, to run a successful company, you just got to do it all. You know what I mean? So I don't get too caught up on it, but I don't really care for the numbers and shit. Like I like stuff that somebody being true to themselves, somebody who really wants to grow and learn and build business and rock with us for, you know, foreseeable future. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. So what do you think, you know, just looking at the folks that have had careers that have, you know, stood the test of time recently, like, you know, are there common characteristics that you can point to of like, hey, career artists have these characteristics or these attributes, or like here's part of their story that is you know, similar?
I think it depends, because every artist is like different. They like kids, like I'm not saying that to like down them or nothing, but they like children. Like everybody's not going to be the best. Everybody's not going to be the top of their class. You got valedictorians, you got kids that don't really do shit, and they all make up this thing called hip hop. I feel like Dirk is a really, really good example, because like when Dirk came out, he got signed like right before Chief Keef. Like him and Lil Reese got signed right before Chief Keef, and No ID signed them. And when you look at a producer, an executive producer like a No ID, everybody was like, you signed that. But at the same time, I think that not him just being from Chicago, he just saw a little bit into the future. And Dirk, the reason why I say he's a good example is because he's tried everything. Like there was a point in time, people forget that like Dirk had that weird little space where it was him and Dej Loaf. You know what I mean? Like that relationship.
Yeah.
He had the My Beyonce song. It was like Dirk was like this sweet guy, and then he went to like the Chirac Demon, and like he's just had these different more recently, because you could look at, I feel like you could look at Drake and see the same thing. Like Drake has had like these different chapters in his life where he's the ladies' man, or he's like the
dropping a project with 21.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're dropping a project with Future, or you know what I mean, like if you read in this Too Late Drake, you know what I mean, or you got different aspects of him. And like with a Dirk, he's tried. I said this to a few of my friends a couple weeks ago when I seen him do the XXL interview, and I started seeing like excerpts from it. I was like, he's about to shift like how he makes music. And he's like, what you mean? I'm like, yo, he just said that he loves his girl. Like he went out and said in an interview how much he loves his girl. You know what I mean? And not only that, he started saying about how like King Von, like he's been going to therapy about King Von. It's like when you start being vulnerable and talking about stuff like that in interviews, something's about to change. And then he comes with the J. Cole record. It's like
I just listened to All My Life probably 4 times on the ride here.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding, but that's
a great record.
It's a good record.
It's a great record, but it's a shift, right? It's like, because the thing with Dirk, I feel like it's kind of effortless for him to talk street shit. Like that's easy for him because that's his environment. But I feel like in hip hop, we don't have as much maturity as we used to. Like there was a point in time where like a Jay-Z made a 30's the new 20, you know what I mean? Or you had like more mature versions of artists that were coming out making music when they reached a certain age, right? And then you look at those 30-year-olds compared to the 30-year-olds now. The 30-year-olds now is acting like the 20-year-olds back of that time. So, you know, I think that it's important to kind of be very cognizant and understand that, like, yo, when I get to a certain age, I want to talk about certain shit because that's going to give you a longer lifespan.
Yeah. So as someone who worked at the, you know, legendary Rockefeller Records, right? You've been in this shit for a minute. You've seen the game change. You've seen it evolve. How do you feel like you're handling having to adapt over the years? Has it been a struggle for you or come natural for you to evolve as the game changes? I
don't forget who I was when I got in. See, the thing is I got in when I was 18. So, like when I usually talk to a up and coming artists and their team, like I could remember like that hunger I had with, it was me and the Young Guns, you know what I mean? And they were already signed, you know what I mean? And me being a part of their team and just being the Swiss Army knife, I'm gonna do whatever for the situation. The way I adapt is just, I just pay attention. I never forget where I come from, right? Like, it's like, if you're 21 years old, what I've noticed, I'm 40, right? And what I've noticed that being 40 is I meet dudes that's 21, 22, 23, 25, and they got like the same problems I had at 25 or 22 or 21. Like, especially when you come from the hood, it's like the common thing is always poverty when you coming from the hood. And it's like most of the artists I'm going to say all of them that we sign, but a lot of artists we sign are street artists. So the hood never changes, you know what I'm saying? It's just like the players change. So I'll talk with an artist and they'll tell me about their story, about their music. And I'm like, oh shit, like I I know what that's about, and that kind of helps me with how I got to position the artists or what producers or writers or how I got to like put them in position as well. Like it helps with my job because I just never forget. Like I don't forget what it's like to be 21 and you got all these amazing ideas because you want to be successful and nobody takes you serious.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously over the years, it has been majority street artists, but like what's going on with Leighton Green, for example? And I mean, is there
diversity?
Is there going to be a shift in the roster?
Well, I mean, we have been shifting the roster a bit. Leighton Green was already signed before I got there.
Yeah.
But like when I got there, you know, Leighton, she had took a lot of time off. You know, Leighton, and she knows I love her, but she's in her head, and as every artist is, like, so excuse me, sometimes they second guess like their decisions, like, is this song good enough? Artists are like any other group of people. And I remember George Carlin said this shit. He said kids are like any other group of people. A few winners, a whole lot of losers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Shout out George.
That's the same shit as artists. Like, you know, and with Leighton, when I first met Leighton, it was right before she was about to give birth to her son. And she just expressed like all the things that she wanted to do and how she wanted to do them. And, you know, for her to be R&B, I never worked in R&B before. You know what I mean? Like I've listened, I grew up on R&B, but I never worked an R&B artist. So it was, I helped her complete her album, you know, and what it really was like me just letting her have the freedom to create. And then also saying, I think we should, you know, work with, you know, these producers or whatever. And then once she worked with these producers, we started just filtering like the music. Like, you know what I mean? We had a ton of music and I was like, you know what we need to do? We just need to sit in a room and put it all on a piece of paper. And we did that shit one time and figured out the album.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, as far as like the shift with the roster, we like QC, we want to do business with dope people that want to be a part of what we're doing too. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't necessarily say we're not looking, we always looking, but you got to want to be down with us as well, you know? And we're looking at all types of artists.
Yeah, for sure. So like, where do you think most artists are getting it wrong right now? Right. So there's more artists than ever. There's 100,000 songs uploaded daily. I mean, just the amount of music being made and put out in the world is just astronomically high at this point. There's a ton that are obviously just completely getting the whole thing wrong. Right. What would you say are some common?
They chasing shit like that. That's the thing, right? I feel like
trends.
Yeah, and the thing about trends is I don't have a problem with trends. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a problem with bandwagons either. Like I don't necessarily jump on bandwagons myself, but I think that like by the time people jump on bandwagons or follow trends, it's something that's been worked on for a long time that led for people to get into it, right? So I just feel like so many artists feel like they have to make a certain, and it's always been like that. Like just me growing up in New York, like in the early 2000s, a lot of people was like, you got to have a radio record. Like, yo, you need a radio record, which is like, yo, I need to have like good enough bars, but I need like a dope R&B hook. You know what I mean? Or I need some singing. And then that shifted to singing on the record, right? And I feel like at one point in time, it was just like, all right, I need to sing along with rap. Now it's like, I need the viral moment. So I need to say the craziest fucking thing I could think of within 4 bars that will permit people to pay attention for 16-second clips of that 4 bars. And if that keeps going, like I could fill up a fucking stadium with the amount of songs that I've only heard the 4 bars.
Right.
And I've never listened to the song. So I think that so many artists, like naturally, if you see success, you think, okay, I just got to do that. So the next new artist, they like, I just got to do that. I just got to do that. And then when they finally get the opportunity, they get signed and all that. I've been going through it when I was at Asylum. You figure out that most of them aren't artists. They just tried to figure out how to make a song right quick, made some shit that people could make a dance to or just vibe to right quick. And then you like, all right, we got you in the studio now. What's that? And it's like, they're in the fucking headlights.
That's so dangerous to me. I feel like that kind of mentality, just not being able to establish a super deep connection with the artist. You know, if you know, like, it's cool when they do it, it's a problem when not do it. Fuck them. What's the next bar after that? And like, people can't tell you. There's no chance to like get deep with that in those viral moments, I feel like.
Well, I think like for that song specifically, I did like, I'm not the biggest, that Finesse 2 Times, right? Like he could rap, but like, I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I actually thought that was a good song. But like, I feel like and this is just me being a observer, you know what I mean? This is me being a consumer. I don't know what his situation is or not. I feel like the difficulty he has is because, you know, he spent a lot of time in prison, and a lot of his raps is that, you know what I mean, that banging on their chest shit. Like, a lot of the music sounds like that. And while it's good when you're doing a freestyle, to me as a fan, it's just not translating when it comes to making records. You feel me? So, like, I also believe that when you have a certain type of skill set, you can get through that. You know what I mean? But, you know, it works for certain people.
Yeah, so when you said that some of these people are just basically able to make music, but they're not really artists, what makes someone really an artist?
Honesty. And not so. I hate for people to believe that like every song, because when people talk about hip hop and they talk about like substance and all, like every song is not about something. You know what I mean? Like every song don't have to be about something. Like it's a lot of Missy. I love Missy Elliott growing up. I can't tell you what a lot of her songs was about. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, I think it's like all of that shit. Like, I can't tell you what them songs didn't have necessarily substance to me. They just was like a dope beat, some dope rhymes, and they felt good as a kid. We could dance to them, we could have fun to it. But the honesty I mean by that is like, if you know that that's your niche and you're just good at making those type of records, then stick to that. Like I feel like Busta Rhymes, right? Like Busta Rhymes, his honesty as an artist is making club bangers. I feel like A$AP Ferg is like that. Like I'm not gonna listen to A$AP Ferg to hear like an in-depth record about his life. Like, you know what I mean? When I want to hear Ride with the Mob. Like I want to hear that shit. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes like the artists, they get tricked a bit. You know who got tricked like that? Lil B. Lil B tricked himself. Lil B was doing all of that young bass God and I fuck with the bitches, all that silly shit, and they was loving it. And then when he made that I'm Gay album, he tried to really make a real album, and everybody, what the fuck is this, bro? We want to know the next wonton soup. We want to know the next Ellen DeGeneres. Like, you know what I mean? And they overthink it. You know what I mean? What makes an artist is just being honest, being truthful about what it is they want to make. Like, remember Lil Tecca when he did the what's that shit? I got what's the name of that song? Y'all remember that?
Blueberry Fago? The Fago?
No,
shit?
that's Lil Mosey. Lil Tecca was I got black, I got white, I got and I got twin Glocks, turn you to a dancer. Okay. And remember he did the genius shit. He was like, I actually don't own any Glocks. Like, I don't shoot guns. I don't. He said
I don't even have a driver's license. Talking about driving cars. But I think that
like while people tried to clown Tecca, like I love that.
That's the most dishonest bar ever. Then apparently.
What you mean?
Well, I mean, if he's blatantly saying that he's completely lying, right?
But that's great. That's what I love about music, right? This is the thing. Only in hip hop music, I'm not gonna say music, only in hip hop music are you not allowed to just make shit up. Like when you just make shit up, like I have a lot of friends who have done tons of prison time, killers, drug dealers, all types of shit. None of them they couldn't even be rappers if they wanted to. What I'm saying that to say is because a lot of the rappers that say they did, I know I could look at a lot of these artists and seen they never touched a brick ever in their life. Yeah. The average person in the hood never touched a fucking brick of cocaine. So when you rapping about having 60 bricks and moving them down the block and you look at a person like, then why are you dressed like that? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like a person who wears like fake jewelry, like a person who has like a fake Audemars, right? But the shit looks really good and they hop out of fucking Toyota Corolla. You did not pay $160,000 for that watch and you driving in a $25,000 car. Yeah. But I can appreciate a person who says, I brought this fucking watch because I wanted to get some numbers and the girls in the parking lot don't know what I pulled up in. Yeah. Like, I would respect it. You feel me?
Yeah, it's honest too.
Yeah, so I respect
on the back end.
Yeah, I respect an artist saying like, yo, I rap about killing for entertainment, but I'm actually not a killer. Like I actually wouldn't kill anybody. I'm just no different than a person playing in a film. I could appreciate honesty like that.
It's super interesting how you say like hip hop is the genre where like you might get called out for that. Because any other genre, you could tell a story, you can embellish some details, and it's just your art. You're not getting called out for it. Oh, sound effect.
Did you ever?
But hip hop is they kind of hold you to a standard.
Did you ever listen to Another One Bites the Dust by Queen?
Of course,
yeah, of course.
They talking about killing people the whole fucking song. I never thought none of them was killing people.
Right.
I mean, don't get me, but the thing about it is hip hop also culturally comes from the streets. The thing about coming from the streets though, people think that coming from the streets only means like being a criminal. To me, coming from the streets when I was a kid, like you know how they have the term outside. I went outside because I didn't have nothing to do. We wasn't bragging about, yeah, I'm on this street, I'm in this street. Like, no, I didn't have nothing to do after school, so I would just go play ball,
and
ride my bike.
Yeah.
And because inside was very small. Like, why would you want to stay in a fucking New York apartment that was like tiny as fuck, probably, right?
Why y'all got to do that?
I'm just saying, like,
come on, you giving me flashbacks of how I grew up, man. I went to a fucking apartment smaller than this area we in.
Bro, I went to a family friend's funeral. She grew up on the Lower East Side back in the like 60s or 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Her family had a 1-bedroom where she and her 2 siblings slept in the actual bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Her parents slept on a fucking fold-out couch where her kids would have to crawl over the sleeping parents to get to the bathroom, bro.
Damn.
It gave me fucking anxiety. So I'm just saying, like, they were outside too.
No, that's a fact.
Y'all are just outside in New York, bro.
The thing is like, you know, coming from New York, like, it depends. You know, some kids, they don't just be outside. Some kid, you got every type of kid. Like, for me, I never really wanted to be a person in the street. It's just that, like, when I came outside, I just had influences in front of me. And, you know, those influences mixed with, like, you thinking about how am I going to survive, right? Like, can't beat them, join them is a real thing. You know what I'm saying? Like all of these different aspects of life when you're a kid growing up in this environment, it makes you put yourself out there. But the great thing about that is like, that was my social media. That's how like, my social media was like getting on my bike and riding around Harlem. You know what I mean? Like, if I had on a good outfit, I wanted the approval of my peers, so I would make sure I ride my bike uptown. Like, yeah, if they see this shit, they go, that's my likes. You feel me?
Yeah, that's your likes.
For real, that was my likes. So it's like, you know, I think that especially like for myself growing up in the hood, like, you know, you just want to be seen more than anything. So like you especially in Harlem. Oh man, Harlem is a fucking fashion show.
If they don't see you, are you spinning the block coming back around again?
Yeah, like, you know how many let me tell you something, bro. You know how many times I had on a good fit? I had on a good fucking fit and I went somewhere and nobody was outside. I was sick. I'm like, damn, I gotta figure out a day when I could come back through and show this shit off. But that's just being a kid and, you know, just having fun with it, you know? But that's the reason why I understand the kids today who, like, you know, they might do a little bit extra for the clout on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because that was my clout when I was a kid.
Like you said, it's the same game, different players.
Different players and different strategies. That's all.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you're obviously, you know, co-head of A&R at
Brandra
QC.
Ringo.
Yep,
Yes.
exactly. Shout out to
Brandra Ringo.
Brandra, that's right. Okay, yep. And then you also manage Duke Deuce.
Yes.
Shout out
Okay.
Duke Deuce.
So we've talked about this a little bit. Like, is that not somewhat of like a conflict of interest when, like,
Your manager is with the label.
yeah, like,
I feel like, I mean, yes and no.
Okay.
I feel like yes on the, like, the rules of what people think things should be,
Yeah.
right? But no in the aspect of, like, you like who you like. You know what I'm saying? And you want to work with who you want to work with. Like, I don't, there's a level of confidentiality that exists between, you know, me and Duke, just with me and Duke and nobody else, you know what I mean? And we have a relationship as, you know, manager, and I have a co-manager, you know what I mean, Tati, who manages Duke with me. We have a level of respect for one another in profession as business, but then we also have a respect for one another as men. So we don't hold anything from each other. Like, I'm very honest about what I think he should do. Even, you know, sometimes, I'm not going to say it goes directly against the label, but it's sometimes where it's like, I feel like we could do things, you know, a little bit better on the label side. So it works for us. You know what I'm saying?
Does it work the other way around? Is there a level of confidentiality with you and QC and some things that maybe you can't discuss with Duke also?
Yeah, to an extent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's not, like, I feel like the level of transparency that is in QC, we don't hide nothing from one another, man. Like, if something is bad, you gonna know. Like, you gonna
Smell
know
that
like,
shit down the
that's
hallway.
a fact. Let me tell you something, man.
We're gonna handle it.
Shouts out to P and Coach, but if P not feeling something, man, you gonna hear that shit before you could even think about it. You feel me? So it's like, But we hold each other accountable in every instance. I think that's why it's worked prior, and that's why it's working now.
Yeah, shout out Duke Deuce one time.
No, that's my guy,
What a
man.
fucking artist, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I'm just a sucker for anything and everything Memphis, bro. That's my favorite
yeah?
sound. I have like Memphis beats. I listen to so much Memphis, man. I just
Oh man, we gotta
like the
get
way-
Duke up here, man.
Yeah.
I would love that.
That's
man.
easy. I talk to him.
He
That'd be a
is such
dream.
an innovative artist. I mean, talk
Yeah.
about like building something that's unique.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, didn't he like perform with like a live band recently at the LVRN shit or whatever?
Yeah, the LVRN shit.
I was like, yo, I was just blown away by him as an artist, man.
Yo, what's dope about that is like, I got a really good relationship with LVRN and all of that. And like, that's the thing that they do. And when we did it, it kind of added a different perspective, you know what I mean, to Duke. The thing with Duke is he was already Duke before I met him, you know what I mean? So what I've been able to do working with Duke is just give him a different perspective. Like, yo, like, bro, like, all right. You come from Memphis, you doing this, you doing that, you done conquered this, you conquered that. Now it's time for us to shift a bit, not get away from who you are, but just to, to grow as an artist. Like the same thing I was talking about prior. Like right now, man, we got some ideas for our next like project that we gonna put together, and I think everybody's gonna love it because we just taking our time. Like we not rushing. I think that's such an intricate part of being a producer.
Can we get some exclusives? Exclusive drops here on the one more time exclusive, maybe?
No. But what I can say is we are working though. We working and when we are ready, I'm gonna bring him up here. Let's do it. Like, I would love to do that because Duke, he is an artist, man. Like him dancing is an aspect to his art. You know what I mean? If you really take the time to listen to Duke, he be saying some shit. Like he got this song that's coming out soon, and like the beat and everything, it just sounded like a turn up song. But then one day he sat with me and told me what he was talking about. I said, I didn't even get all of that. But I hadn't listened deep enough to the record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you hear it, it's some shit to turn up to. You know what I mean?
love those types of songs that they grab you immediately just from the sound. It's like the first level. It has to grab you first when you just kind of hear it and experience it. And then the third, fourth, fifth, sixth time listening to it, you're realizing other things and you're catching this bar and then this bigger meanings come together.
Right.
And it connects with you in a whole nother way.
That's a
So
fact.
who's Duke's A&R at QC? Is
Me.
it you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, because
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, is it tough for you to take off your A&R hat and put on your manager hat
Nah,
and vice versa or whatever?
And the way it happened was this. It was like, Duke had prior management, you know what I mean, at one point in time. And I was, as his A&R, he had another A&R over at Motown. And we would just do like these calls, right? We would do these calls. And the calls were just so boring. I'm talking about these calls were so fucking boring, bro. Like we just sitting there and they're like, yeah, like let's do this and let's do that. And one day I never said nothing. And one day I was like, yo, like that shit not gonna work. I was like, yo, that's not gonna work. Like let's try this. Like
He snapped.
yeah, no, that's what it really was, bro. It was I just got because you know what it was.
You fucking lost it.
Yo, I got tired of being on them calls for real because we wasn't talk. It was a meeting about a meeting. We wasn't really doing shit.
Yeah.
So and the management prior was the management prior. They did what they had to do, but I felt like they wasn't really bringing nothing to the table creatively or supporting him creatively enough where he felt confident to express himself if he was on a call. You know what I mean? And my partner Tati, she had jumped in and we started working. And then one day, like they was like, yo, could we have a meeting with you? I'm like, yeah. And we had a meeting. They was like, yo, I want you to manage Duke with me. And Duke was like, yeah, I want you to manage me. I'm like, for real? And like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. So how much like management shuffling happens? Like, what,
it happens all the time.
yeah, right.
I mean, if anybody knows my story, you know what I mean? I was managing Dave East at one time. I was managing an artist named TJ Porter at one point in time. I was managing like a few different artists in my career. And, when they get ready, like, that's it. You know what I mean?
And shout out Buddha.
Oh, yeah, Buddha. Yeah,
That
Buddha.
was your first client, right?
That's my first client. Yeah,
Buddha Bless?
No.
Buddha and Grands. They from New York. Buddha's from the Bronx. Grands is from Queens. But Buddha is like, he's like one of my best friends now. But like at the time, Buddha just pulled up on me one day and was like, we had met through Amadeus. Amadeus is a producer.
Okay.
This is in the MySpace days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Amadeus, he wanted to send some beats to young Chris. And I sent Chris's beats to I sent Amadeus's beats to Chris.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting Lil Wayne on the record. And this one, Lil Wayne is fucking rocket fire.
Oh,
like,
shit.
You know what I mean?
You were the man.
Well, I didn't get Lil Wayne on it, but I got the
I know,
placement,
but like you looked like the fucking man probably for that.
Absolutely,
It's
but
like
I ain't get
Carter,
shit out of
Carter
it.
2 kind of days.
Yeah, no, this is Wayne going into Carter 3. Carter
Going
2 is
into
already
3.
out. This is Wayne going into Carter 3.
Yeah.
But
Shit.
this is when he's doing a feature for everybody.
Fire.
You know, and
Oh yeah,
when
there was a video of him that just went around recently where he was talking
Did
about
100 features?
I was on it. No, he was talking about you could change the radio station to any genre channel, and he was on
that shit.
it.
Yeah, nah, it is unbelievable. So, you know, Amadeus had told me like, yo, my man Buddha want to give you some beats or whatever. And we started talking. He gave me some beats. And then like, this is years later, like 5 years later, he like, yo, I want you to manage me. I'm like, manage you? He like, yeah. I said, I don't know how to manage nobody. He's like, shit, you could do better than the dude who managing me now, even if you can't do shit.
I know.
Like,
I heard you say that before. I just
Yeah.
love that, right? Because we talk about this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You can literally wake up and say you're a manager.
There's no manager
There's
school.
no fucking credentials
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah.
Nah,
You
there's
just
no,
had to
there's no credentials.
You just had to have someone say, I mean, you could probably do better than the guy that's doing
But
it
you
right
know what?
now.
That's all you need.
The thing was too though, I felt like, cause it's funny, right? Like I feel like people, when it comes to managers, they look at like, all right, who is around other people that I could get to?
That's
All right,
it.
fuck it,
That's
you could
it.
just be my
Yeah.
manager. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't know how to do it. And I wouldn't necessarily say it was that because I was doing A&R prior to that. So I understood by this time when Buddha wanted me to manage him, I understood music. I understood like, you know what I mean? Like how to make a record happen. I understood like putting an artist with another producer and putting another artist on that record and making something out of it. So he was right about it. But, you know, even when I started managing him, we hit a wall. You know what I mean? We had hit a wall early on because, man, at this time where like Dat Piff and my mixtapes, the Spin Red, all that shit is so big, it's hard to sell beats. You know what I mean? It was so hard to sell a beat, man. Like, I remember we had a record that was supposed to go on Victory Lap that ended up being Jadakiss single.
Wow.
I've never said that before. So that's an exclusive.
There's our exclusive.
We'll
It's
fucking
exclusive.
take it.
But it was, we had gave Nipsey, my man Steve-O was working with Nipsey. He was at Def Jam. He was working with Nipsey.
Steve Carlos?
Yeah, Steve Carlos.
Yeah, yeah.
And we had gave Nipsey the record. And Nipsey, I remember they was going to put Ed Sheeran on it.
True.
Yo, I swear, bro.
Shout out to Ed Sheeran. Like
Nah,
somehow
Making the rounds.
always
bro.
being around. Like,
I think
what
the
the fuck?
Yo, the crazy thing was, it was like, all right, we had the record and it was just sitting. So I think I started managing Davies. Dave did something to the record. And then we was like, Dave wanted to put it on the table. He's like, nah, because we got a placement with Nipsey. And then Steve-O kept telling me like, yo, we got the record. I'm just trying to structure it out. He's like, yo, we gonna get Ed Sheeran. When he told me he was gonna get Ed Sheeran, I'm like, oh, I'm getting out the projects. Like, that's it. And Nipsey
No more hood for you.
Yeah, man. And Nipsey just never, you know, he never figured it out, but they had a verse on it. So Jadakiss is working on his album. And we ended up, I think the record was called Ain't Nothing New. It was, I think it's Neo, Nipsey, and Kiss.
Wow.
Fire.
Yeah, so that was, you know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So at what point should an artist get a manager? Like, you know, we always ask this. Well, what's the right time to get a manager?
I think there is no right time. I think you could get a manager like even if you ain't got shit going, but the manager has to like want to do something. Like the manager can't just say I'm the manager. Like if you're the manager, you should be trying to find any and every opportunity to get your artist more exposure, right? It's like there's no money in the beginning. Like I remember like when I first started, the most successful artist I had managed or ever managed was at the time was Dave East. And when I first started managing him, like we wasn't making no money. You know what I mean? It was just like my perspective. Like I remember I came on, he was working on a Black Rose project. And he was like, yo, I just need a couple records to finish it. I put him with Buddha. Buddha did the offering. Him and Grands did the offering. It ended up being an intro. And then he wanted a feature. I took him to Smoke DZA. Smoke DZA is my childhood friend. So I took him to Smoke DZA spot.
Shout out DZA.
Nah, that's my brother, man.
Legendary artist, entrepreneur.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's my
everything,
brother, man. Like we was kids talking about how we was gonna get in this shit one day. So I took him to DZA. DZA has done a record with every artist I've managed at that time.
I'm
right?
sure.
So he did a record with. So that was what I brought to the table. You know what I mean? I brought that to the table. And then when Dave got like the first couple offers, right? Like I helped him get a lawyer because I had so many relationships in the business. I didn't know nothing about having a lawyer, but I just called my friends like, yo, this kid I got, he about to get a deal. I need a lawyer. So they helped me, yo, here, meet with this person, meet with that person. And I'm getting him a lawyer. Like it was just, as a manager, you got to just do whatever you can to bring more to the table, to bring the artist become a bigger name day by day.
Yeah, it's got to be 1 + 1 = 3 kind of,
Exactly.
right? Like you
I'm
have
happy
to,
you said that.
yeah, like
That's
you
a
have to
fact.
be like, you have to be contributing more than just if they were to be doing this on their own, right?
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, that's true. So
And to the point, real quick, you talk about like managers shifting a lot. I think that should be more normalized. I think it's okay to try managers for like 3 to 6 like trials.
Yeah.
We've seen people do trials. I think people get like real like emotionally attached with each other.
Bro.
But I think it's cool to like, just feel each other out if you believe in each other and just normalize, trying. It's like tryouts.
Yo, you know how many people be like artists right now be asking me to manage them, and I'd be like, yo, let's just get a chance to know each other. Like,
Yeah.
I don't be wanting to jump into that shit because sometimes artists who might have had bad management prior, like, their expectation of you is like, oh, if I get with him, it's out of here. And a lot of that's another thing to the managers, in the defense, a lot of the success is not always predicated on the manager. If as an artist, if you don't give the manager something to manage, then there's nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can't just come up with shit out of thin air when you ain't going to the studio enough or you ain't working hard enough. If you ain't doing shit, I'm gonna find something else to do. So I just try to like feel people like that shit is like dating. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it really is.
Yeah, I don't want to know if I don't want to get you pregnant. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to chill, get to know you a little bit. I don't want to marry you yet. You know what I mean?
take
Like,
me out for a fucking coffee, bro,
that's
at
a
least.
fact. You know what I mean?
Oh man. So what are your favorite manager artist duos?
Favorite manager artist duos.
Yeah, like the most power couples. You know what I mean? Like
Currently,
just maybe of all time, honestly.
all time.
Yeah.
I gotta say, rest in peace to my brother Hovain.
Yes.
Him and Troy Ave when
Bro,
they had
I was supposed to have Hovain on the show. We had met
real?
at the AT&T Revolt Summit.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah,
Man,
and like
man.
I knew him through our mutual friend Fame.
Yeah, Fame, that's the homie.
Yeah, she's like my favorite person.
Nah, Fame is dope.
Yeah, she's actually been on the pod as well. And so I had literally texted Hovain probably like 2 weeks, however long before.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll say,
man, he's a legend.
Yeah, nah, Hovain, rest in peace Hovain, but I say Hovain and Troy Ave. I gotta throw myself in there, Davies and myself.
Yeah.
Who could I think of?
Yeah, there were a lot of zeros that came in your bank account after that.
Facts. We made me
You
and
got
East,
out the hood out of that one.
Yeah, me and East made a lot of bread together. I ain't go. That's my guy. We made a lot of. What up?
Did you
East?
get some of the acting checks as well? Little
Yeah,
pieces of it? Okay.
The first shit, like, we did Being Mary Jane.
Yeah.
We did the what was the name? It was some show that was on VH1 with Tiana Taylor.
Okay.
With Harris. That's when I met with Harris. I forgot the name of it. But it was like an old school hip hop show. But Dave like played some artist. I mean, he played an artist on there.
He's a pretty good actor.
He does his thing. But I'm trying to think of people. I'll say producer and manager. My man Matt, Money Making Matt.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Wait, yeah, who's he manage?
Matt was on here.
No.
We didn't have Matt.
Y'all didn't have Matt on here?
We haven't had Matt
Hook it
on.
up.
We'd love to, but who do you
Matt,
manage?
he got Cardiac. He got a bunch of different producers, but Matt works at Warner.
Okay, see, I love Dre London and Post Malone.
Yes.
Like-
Dre. Oh, yes.
Like Dre
and Post
London
Malone.
is borderline an artist. Like he's
Nah,
fucking
Dre is my
epic.
guy. I fucking love
Superstar.
Dre.
Yeah.
I don't know if this counts as management, but I say Generation Now.
Oh yeah.
Well, Neelam, my homegirl Neelam and Jack.
And Jack Harlow.
Yeah. Because it's so crazy for me with Jack, because I watched like when they first signed Jack to it. He's a fucking superstar now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like just the development that Generation Now did, and then Neelam working at Generation Now, and I think she's just fully his manager. Like, I gotta give it up to her. I gotta give it to my girl Erin Larson and Playboy Cardi.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? I gotta give it to my sister Erin.
God, Cardi is
Yeah.
just on another planet as far as like
Yeah,
success,
absolutely.
man.
I gotta give it to Erin.
Shout out to lady managers also.
No, that's
Yeah,
a fact.
definitely
I gotta give it
making
to my
waves.
homegirl Kim. She got an artist named OT7 Kwani.
Okay.
You know what I mean? From out of Philly. Like, it's so many different people coming up. Barreline and Babyface Ray.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta give it up to them too. It's if I forgot you, forgive me. I don't
Yeah.
be thinking about manager artist duos, but
Did Barreline just start her own label, Great
did.
Day
She did.
Records or something?
I love that because I've known Barreline before she even thought about getting music.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And just to see her trajectory.
Is she from Harlem?
She's from Dykeman, so Dykeman is like borderline. It's not Harlem, it's Manhattan, but it's like it's kind of like
It's the most northern part of Manhattan.
Yeah, so
pretty
it's
much.
like and it's right next to the Bronx, so it's like Bronx, Manhattan together with a splash of Harlem in it. You know what I mean?
It's a weird like.
It's a Dominican neighborhood. Like it's predominantly Dominican. So she's Dominican as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Like just her grind, man. I gotta give it up to her. You feel me?
Man,
Yeah.
I feel like just even me, I started actually doing the podcast and getting into music a few years ago, and I of course just obsessed with like the music business and the industry and like who all the movers and shakers were. And I remember seeing Bearline like early on, and I mean even just like looking at her Instagram growth, for example, it's like. It's easily like 10x over the last like two years. Like she's just popping and she just went from like normal A&R to like senior director, VP, like
from
owns her own label.
She was helping Steve-O with his expenses 5 years ago. She's sitting at the fucking desk. Gotta give it up to Pusha T and Steven Victor too.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Steve and my last one is my brother Rico Beats, and rest in peace Pop Smoke.
Yes. Yeah. So obviously you alluded to, you were close with Dave East, you were managing him, early on, right? You guys hit a lot of success together.
Yeah.
You clearly fell out. I know that you've, somewhat mended that relationship and y'all are cool now. But what do you think you learned about yourself just as like a man as a result of that whole situation?
I'm him. You know how the kids say him, Himothy, Butler. I learned that I'm him. No, for real. Like I'll say, what occurs in this business is you got your ups and downs, your peaks and valleys. You got one day you got a lot of money, then your money get low. It's like anything else. And, through that time, I second guess myself a lot. You know what I mean? Because when you in a position and you lose that position, you naturally going, like your instinct kicks in like, damn, what did I do wrong? You know what I mean? And when I started like assessing and going through all the things that I felt I could have did better, I genuinely felt like I could have did things better. But at the same time, I was like, no, let me get back on the fucking horse. You know what I mean? Like, because the horse was still there. Now, if the horse would have fucking took off, I'd have been in trouble. But the horse was still there. It was people who was interested in me. It was people who still wanted to work with me. It was people who like thought highly of me and just looked at the work that I had done and was like, yo, man, this guy's good and he has something, and I'm him. I feel like
you're the king of get back on the horse.
Really?
Dude, you've gotten fired from like every fucking job you ever had originally, but then you still managed to like become the EVP of A&R at one of the biggest powerhouses in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, yo.
It's like this dude literally was getting fired from every mailroom in New York City.
No, I only got fired from one mailroom.
Okay, still.
The second I got laid off and they rehired me again.
Okay, exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's like, how do you get rehired after you get fired?
Because I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm him.
Like,
I'm fucking good. Like I had to really realize that because like, and this is what I learned, like, once I started getting in the media and shit, I had to learn, like, you can't look at or listen to the internet in a bad, like, connotation because, like, perception might not be your reality, but perception is reality for a lot of people, right? Like, if you look up in the sky and it's gray, you assume it's going to rain. So people assume the worst of me. People assume that I was a thief. They assume that I was doing all type, because if you don't have information, then you could just make up whatever the fuck sounds good to you. So, like, the thing about what I learned is like, yo, just don't pay attention to none of that noise and do the work. See, that was like, I wouldn't say that's my problem. Like, when I was at Rockefeller when I was younger, my problem was when I first got in, I thought this is never gonna end. That's why I got my hand tatted. I would have never did no shit like this at 19 years old if I'd have known what my outcome was gonna be. I got all these tattoos on my neck because I thought I would never have a regular job ever again. And in 2002, a neck tat was like a face tat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
A hand tat was like a face tat. That shit was serious. So, like, the only tattoos you really found back in that time, and not, LA, they was doing all type of crazy shit, but the most a person had was a fucking teardrop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, a face tattoo was a common thing. So, a hand and neck tattoo, I was like, oh, my shit is over.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, it's over for me, but
I better make this work.
yeah, I had to make it work. But the thing about it is like, yeah, like, you either gonna fucking sink or swim or sink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got to do one or the other. You get thrown in the middle of the ocean, you either going to drown or you going to swim to shore. I was just like, fuck it, let me swim.
Yeah. No, I just think it's truly inspiring, man. I mean,
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I didn't want to dive into all that because you talked about it a lot, but like, that shit is inspiring, man.
It's a part of my story, though, bro. So I don't run away from that shit. It's like,
definitely.
Yeah, you can't run away from it. It's like, yo, especially if it's your truth. Like, one thing I had put up a post like recently, and I was talking about my story, and I basically said, like, there's no flaw. Like, you can't go and say, oh, he lying about that. He lied, because I don't have nothing to lie about. You can't say, oh, he wasn't really da-da-da-da. No, I don't. You're not gonna find no pictures of me looking silly, goofy, none of that shit. You're not gonna find no chinks in my story. You're not gonna find no bullshit in my story because it's my story.
Yeah.
I'm not telling nobody else shit, and I don't beef it up or try to make it something that it's not. Somebody might have a different perspective, but that's just it.
For sure. So QC sold for over $300 million.
I ain't get it done. Nah, I'm just,
I know you didn't get it done, probably. So sorry about that. LVRN recently has been valued at over $100 million since the 80s is doing their thing here, like, you know, in Atlanta. Is there like healthy competition between the labels here in the city?
I never looked at it. That's a good, interesting perspective because I never really looked at it like that. Like, for real, I am competitive to an extent, but like, I really don't give a fuck about it. And I know that people say, oh, that's not true. Now, am I a fan? I'm a fan of Tunde, Amber Grimes, Justice, whole LVRN team. You know what I mean? What they've done with Summer Walker, Boogie, some of the other acts.
Black.
Black.
Yeah.
Oh, man, shout out to Black. A lot of the artists that they have, like, is amazing because me and Amber were brand ambassadors for Reebok.
Yeah, I heard that.
Fucking
that's funny, man.
11, 12 years ago.
Yeah, but you were doing that obviously up in New York, probably, right? And then she was doing it down here.
Well, they had a program where they just had people in different markets. They had one in Philly, New Orleans, LA.
And at the same time, y'all were doing it?
Yeah, we was a crew. You know what I mean? They had like my homegirl Katrina. She was in LA. She was I think she danced for the Clippers or some shit, but she was a brand ambassador. And JD Elroy, my man Dre Demir, he's in DC. He works with Pusha.
Dre, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dre is like a legend there.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like I look at like them since the 80s. Barry's my fucking guy. Zeke, dope. Like for me, man, just being black, that's enough for me. I don't be looking at it like I'm gonna keep it 100. When I see like people beef about who making the most money or podcast beef or all that other shit, it's foolish to me because I was poor. You know what I mean? Like I'm not making that up. Like even when I look back at my life now, my mom had a very, very great way of making that shit look good, but we ain't have shit. You know what I'm saying? So any dollar that I make off of music, I can't believe it every time. Like, I'm like, this is real.
Still feels crazy.
That's
probably,
a fact.
Right?
So I don't be looking. Now look, other people might say, yeah, they can't fuck with us. They can't fuck. I don't look at it like that. I look at it like, yo, listen, man. If any of y'all, and I don't know if they did, but any of the people I mentioned came from where I came from, I don't give a fuck how great you're doing. I want you to do better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And people act like that someone else winning is taken away from you. Like there's abundance in the world. We can all win. Yeah,
I ain't intimidated by none of that shit because I get what I get and I get what I deserve because I'm worth it. So like I don't trip. When I see somebody else doing like what would be perceived as better, I just say, damn, how'd you do that? Can I learn? You know what I mean? I don't got no fucking ego, bro. Because like I said, man, listen, if you had to spend $1 to buy 3 packs of oodles and noodles and that was your dinner for the night, you can't have no ego, man. Right. Straight up.
That's crazy.
I'm curious if anything in your like day-to-day changed since the company sold. Did that have any type of effect or not really?
Hell no, ain't nothing changed, man.
Nothing.
Ain't nothing changed. It was so crazy because my homegirl called me and she was like, yo, congrats. And I was like, on what?
Nothing.
You know what I mean?
My life is exactly the same.
Yo, bro, I swear I was in my bed. I was on my bed on my computer going through emails and she like, yo, congrats, Wayno, my homegirl G. She A&R Let's Start Here with Yachty.
Okay.
She like, yo, congrats. I'm like, congrats on what? She like, you she thought I was joking. She's like, you kidding me, right? I'm like, what? She like, QC just sold. I'm like, QC sold? I'm like, what they sold? Like, she's like, yo, go on Instagram. I seen it. I was like, oh shit, cool. I reposted it and everything. I didn't know what it was. You know what I'm saying?
You don't have any equity.
Nah, I ain't got no equity. Man, I'd be on a fucking island right now if I had some equity of that shit.
Turkey Caicos.
But for real though, like I just was inspired. You know what I mean? Like when I first met P and started talking with P, he was just telling me, he didn't tell me about that, but he just was telling me about like the vision that he had for his company and his brand, and he thought enough of me to make me a part of that. So I don't listen, whatever transpires through that is a win for me, bro. I'm from 228th Street in the Bronx, and I'm from 119th Street in Harlem. Like anything after that is ancillary. I appreciate it all.
So Scooter Braun's not like popping in saying hello?
Hell no. I want to talk to him. What? I already been asking. I'm like, yo, can we talk to I got some shit with Duke I need to talk to him about.
Yeah,
you feel me?
We need to talk to him
but
too.
we
I
I haven't met Scooter, but I did meet Jen. Jen works on Scooter's team.
Okay.
She manages Quavo.
Okay,
You know what
wow.
I mean? And that's a part, and they, I think she was already working with Hybe and all of that. So I met some of the people from Hybe though. They came to the office. I had a call with them this week. Went well, but like, we still all learning and learning each other and shit.
And they're not trying to change anything. They're like, we love what you're doing. Keep doing your thing.
Yeah, they ain't tripped. They ain't say, all right, we need to put BTS on the record, which I would love.
Actually, yeah, no, for sure.
BTS and Baby Money, you feel me?
And Bad Bunny.
We need that. The world needs that.
Right, but ain't nothing changed, man. It's still the same scheduled program. We just, we amplifying our hustle. We hustling harder now.
Yeah, so
Love it.
Juju McClain, who is director of producer relations over at United Masters, we had him on the show, and he said that "Let's Say Something" off Yachty's album is a perfect song.
Say something. Dun, 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 dun. Yep.
A perfect song? You think so?
Perfect?
Yeah.
Perfect is all subjective.
Is there such a thing as a perfect song in your mind?
Absolutely. There's
Really?
tons of perfect songs.
Give me an example.
More Money, More Problems.
Yeah. It's pretty perfect.
Fucking
Just the title.
More Money, More Problems.
They already were winning at that point.
The intro to the intro to Thug Motivation 101.
101, baby.
Oh no,
God.
Jeezy off of the second album. Jeezy like to drink. Jeezy like to smoke. Jeezy like to mix Arm & Hammer with his coke. That song is perfect. You know what I mean? I could name a lot of perfect songs, bro. It's a lot of perfect songs.
What do you think makes a perfect song?
The feeling you get, bro.
Yes.
Oh man, I say like what makes a perfect song is like when you hear the beat and immediately your body feels something and it takes you back to wherever you were the first time you heard it. Like
I said that shit on the
I think
fucking
word for
episode.
word.
With
You know what's
Juju.
crazy?
Literally word for word, bro.
Yeah.
like I remember like perfect song
my
fucking Protect Your Neck by Wu-Tang Clan.
Yes.
Like I remember like so that song came out when I was in the 5th going to 6th grade, but I remember like the reason why it's a perfect song for me is because walking home from school every day was like 7 or 8 of us and everybody had a part. And we would walk home and we would fucking sing that song,
Yes.
walking, and we would all sing that song. Like, I smoke on the mic like smoking Joe Frazier, the hell of it. Like, yo, everybody had a part. So, like,
What was your part?
I like Inspector Deck's part.
Sure.
I like Inspector Deck's part.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Shout out Deck.
Yeah, but it's so many, like, man, fucking,
I'm so
first of the
jealous
month.
that you got to like experience Wu-Tang in middle
New
school.
York?
No, in middle school too.
Oh,
I didn't hear about Wu-Tang until I roomed with a New Yorker in college.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
Oh, okay.
So like way late.
yeah, that's
Way late, you know.
Yeah.
But I could have named every Outkast, T.I., Ludacris, Jeezy
Yeah.
song, right? And like my homies didn't really know much about that,
Yeah.
you know. And like, of course, just Gucci and just other more Atlanta T.I., more Atlanta.
In New York,
shit.
they didn't.
Yeah, like not the like deep cuts,
Not the deep cuts.
like maybe the radio hits or whatever. But
Well, yeah, I felt like Get Up, Get Out, and Get Something by Outkast. Perfect song.
Yeah.
Killing Me Softly by the Fugees.
there's a lot.
It's so many.
There's a lot.
But because music is subjective. But there's also
No, those
songs.
are objectively perfect songs.
Objectively perfect. But there's
no
songs that I felt was
subjectivity there.
perfect that like didn't age well. Like I feel like Throw Your Guns in the Air by Onyx was like a perfect song for me when I was a kid. But I listen to it now, I'm like, this song is not that good. But
True.
at that time when I was a kid, it meant the world to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's all about like how the song makes you feel, man. But there's tons of perfect songs.
Yeah. I feel like there's probably some timeline where if a song still feels perfect after like 5 years or something, then it's probably gonna just be perfect forever.
Yeah. Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know.
Kendrick's best album, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Well, yes.
Shut
Damn,
it- shut
Damn
it-
is a very close second though.
Oh, everyone says To Pimp a Butterfly.
T-Pab is
Dude,
what I hear all the
T-Pab.
time.
To Pimp a Butterfly.
Dude, not even close to Good Kid.
I mean,
Not
no,
even-
Nah, it's not. But it's
Not in my
it's a
mind.
good. It's a good album, but it's not. To Good Kid, Mad City, man. That shit. My best way to describe it is a Quentin Tarantino film.
oh my
Yes.
God.
Like, it starts at the end.
Money Trees. Money Trees is the perfect song.
Yeah,
It's a
man.
perfect
It's
song,
crazy
bro.
because like my youngest daughter was born that she wasn't even one when Good Kid, Mad City came out, and then one day I'm in the car and I'm playing Money Trees, and she's singing that shit because it's
That's
TikTok.
wild.
Because it's
Yeah.
infectious.
TikTok,
bro.
yeah, that's a fact.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Wayno, we have entered a final segment of the podcast.
Okay, let's do it.
Shit.
Buckle the fuck up, Wayno.
Okay.
You've done great so far, but we'll see how this
This
goes.
is the real test. Is it time already?
I mean,
Shit.
I could talk for hours with Wayno, but you
I know
know,
this has been an amazing episode, but we have arrived at the rapid fire rampage. It's going to be a 3-part rampage. I'm going to
Okay.
start off with some short answer questions. I'll explain the rest as we go. Are you buckled up?
All right, I'm buckled up.
Here we go. Starting with very simple, easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy.
What would you like to ask God? I lied about the easy thing.
What would I like to ask God? Why do we have to suffer?
God, we had a long ass studio chat about basically that last night. I stayed way too late talking about that.
Why we got to suffer? That's
Basically, the whole why do bad things happen to good people? Yeah.
Wayno, go ahead.
Nah, it was, but it's a Lupe Fiasco bar, man.
Was it that?
No, it was struggle. Another sign that God love you. Cause being poor, he said, cause being poor really teach you how to hustle. You know what I mean? Like
what song is that?
Real off of Food and Liquor.
Yeah,
Food and Liquor,
Yeah, which is a perfect fucking album.
That
a
is
great
a
album.
perfect album,
Yeah.
bro.
There's perfect shit out here, man.
There really is.
Well, go ahead, my
Don't
fault.
add us about this shit either.
Right.
Wayno, 3 tips for independent artists looking to get the attention of big labels.
Don't look to get the attention of big labels.
Ooh, really?
Don't look to get the attention of big labels and be your fucking self.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my
first
3
one,
tips.
The first one had to go twice.
Yeah, it's
so
like
important.
the first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah. Love it. Wayno,
It's
what
kind of
is-
a perfect movie also. While we're just on the
Perfect shit, right?
Yeah, like while we're just
Ben,
talking about
Ben, this is Wayno's rampage.
Sorry, man.
Right.
Sorry.
Come on, Ben.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right.
Wayno, what is the closest you've come to dying?
Oh man. Okay. Y'all fucked me up with that one. All
Dude,
right.
you're taking him back to some scary shit, bro. Why would you do this?
Going back to the Bronx.
Nah, the Harlem's actually. I've had a few instances where I could have died. Wow. One was when I was gangbanging. It's about 18 years old. I came in front of my building, and there was I was trying to catch a cab, and these dudes, they had on like rival colors. I don't want to talk about what I affiliate myself with because I can never stop being a gang member. Don't join gangs, kids. But
You strike me as blue, but
no.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
my bad.
But anyway, these dudes, they came up to me and they would basically, I wasn't paying attention. And the dude went to, we call it peace in you. You know what I mean? When you give a handshake to identify what you are. And I wasn't paying attention. I got my head and I turned around and he was draped in another color. And you know, I just had this face. I had this fucking face like, oh, it's time, right? And I guess I was standing in the street and the dude was standing in the street and it was like 3 of his homeboys on the curve and and they were standing in front of the entrance of my building, so I couldn't run into my building. But I think the dudes that was on the curve, because of my facial expression, they must have thought he said the most gangster shit on the planet to me. He didn't. He was like, nah, we just dressing like this to catch da-da-da-da. And when I looked at the dudes, he threw up a killer, such and such killer sign. So I looked at them. I lived on Lexington Avenue, which it's a one-way street, and cars is constantly coming. So I said to myself, now at this time, kids, please don't join no fucking gangs. But at this time, I looked up in the sky and I was like, I wanted to run, but I was like, I'm gonna be a bitch if I run. But I was like, if I run, I don't care if I'm a bitch because I don't want to die, right?
Yeah.
So while the car's about to come, they get the right here. I dart out into the street. So I hear them like, yo, why you ain't do nothing? So I get around the corner, and my man Lexi, he's around the corner, him and a few other people, and I'm like, yo, Lexi, I'm like, yo, it's these dudes, they on me right now. He like, you want me to go get my gun? And then as soon as he said that, this kid runs around the corner with this big fucking 357, this Trey Pam, pulls it halfway out his coat, and he looks at me in my eyes, and he looks at like a few of us, and he's like, it's too many people over here. And he put it back and walked around the corner. And oh boy, yeah, you fucked me over with that question.
Shit.
But yeah, man, that
Just went back in time.
Bro, my heart is like
yeah, nah,
kind
that
of
shit-
pounding right now,
that
bro.
shit, nah, for real, because I had to contemplate so many things. It was like my mom, because of what I was doing, my mom was going to send me down south to live with my aunt, and I begged her to not to, and she told me to stop, and I didn't. So it was just like at that point, I was like, damn, if I'd have died, like my mom would have came out the building, seen me laying in the street. It's just, I've been through a lot of fucked up shit, but that was one of them instances where,
Wow.
it got nasty.
Is this the wrong sound effect for that?
God damn, bro.
Speaking of 357s, for this next question,
Okay.
Oh God.
the zombie apocalypse is happening. Choose 3 weapons to defend yourself.
I'm picking a SIG. No, I'm picking a Glock 45. I'm picking a Radical RF-15 with multiple magazines and a flamethrower.
I was about to say you gotta have the
Flamethrower is
flamethrower
fire.
for zombies,
flamethrower.
right? Yeah.
Or
Fire.
if they had like a freezing gun, like if they had like a, like
Yeah,
something you
gun.
can freeze, like I'm using that.
Okay.
Freeze them up.
Yeah.
Burn them or freeze them.
Wayno, you're an independent artist with $10,000 to roll out your next single. How are you going to spend it? Basic breakdown.
I'm gonna spend $1,000 on my artwork.
That's a lot on artwork, huh?
Underrated, yeah.
Well, you got to factor in doing the artwork and then like the digital.
All the assets.
Okay, right? So
okay,
that's
all
gonna
right.
cost you around maybe.
Sure.
Label
It could-
people
it
are
could
the
be-
ones that know that.
Yeah.
It could be 500.
He's not just
yeah.
talking about the fucking square.
Yeah, no, I'm
image
talking about
for
the
album.
moving shit, all of that, right? I'm
Okay,
using
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm spending $1,000 on that. I'm spending like 2,500 on ads, but the right type of ads, not the shits where they put you in front of somebody build video and your video just comes on and like if they see it, they see it because you'll get the same views that the video gets, but you won't get engagement. I'm not spending on that. I'm spending it on ads for people to see. Like I'm talking about like actual posters and shit like that. I'm gonna go grassroots with it. How much I spent? $3,500. But I got another 70. No, I got
65?
6,500.
65, baby.
65. Let's put another 500 into them ads. So that's 3. I got. No, that's 4. I'm tripping. I got 4 bands left. The other 4 bands I'm gonna spend on, depending on what the single is. I like money, so let me say my single is about money. I'm gonna invest some money into like giving money back. I'm gonna so let's say 2 bands. I'll spend 2 bands giving back, and then I got 4 more left. I'm gonna have an event.
Release party?
Not necessarily a release party. I'm gonna have a listen party to explain why my single is my single and probably preview some other music. But I'm gonna spend like some bread. I'm gonna give me a nice venue, spend a couple dollars on some wings and some liquor and all of that shit, and we gonna go to work.
Okay.
I like it. Wayno, who has the best fast food chicken sandwich?
Chick-fil-A.
And finally, what is your favorite curse word?
Bitch.
Part 1.
Part 1.
Well, can I
like it.
fucking bitch?
There you go.
Sure.
Yeah,
Compound,
fucking bitch.
compound works.
Compound cuss word?
If I hit
Yeah.
my foot, fucking bitch. Yeah.
I've been on shit balls lately.
Shit ball. What that? What?
Okay, that's some white shit.
Yeah, I was about to say that's some white shit.
people
Like,
shit.
Some
for
like
sure.
I think it's like European maybe or
No.
Australian.
Like, how do you create a shit ball? Like,
No, it's just like shit balls, man.
shit
Fuck.
balls. Like
Shit
nah.
balls.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Shit on my balls. Anyway, part 2 is the this or that. I'm gonna give you 2 choices and you pick one.
This or that.
Rapping or singing?
Singing.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Memphis slang or Atlanta slang?
Atlanta slang.
Give up your passport or give up smartphones?
Give up smartphones.
Live to 125 or $1 million wired into your bank account right now?
Live to 125.
Thank you. Can't buy time.
Facts.
Your full internet history released to the public or your full texting history released to the public?
Internet history.
And finally, a 90% chance of Memphis Massacre 3 going platinum or a 10% chance of Memphis Massacre 3 going diamond.
I'm going with the 10.
Rolling the dice, part 2.
I'm going with the 10.
damn.
I'm going with the 10.
I like it. It's hard to go diamond, man.
Duke going diamond?
Got to go for it. That'd be crazy.
Because if what you said, it was what was going
90% platinum.
90%
It's
platinum.
probably happening.
10% chance we going multi-platinum.
Yeah, 10
to
times.
get the 10, like we at least got to do 7.
Right.
So we going to beat platinum. So
I like it. I like it. The last part is the word association. I'm going to say one word. You just give me the first word, maybe 2 words. First thought, right back at me, off the top of your head. This is where it gets fun. Part 3 with Wayno. Starting with hip hop,
amazing,
loyalty,
rare,
Zaza.
Zara.
Ooh, flipped it. Content.
Overly used.
COVID.
Real.
Wealth.
Attainable.
Hellcat.
No. It's a little fucking kid car, man.
Government.
Untrustworthy.
Lil.
Whoever.
Yeah, Lil, whoever's new EP's coming out. It's gonna be fire. Cryptocurrency.
Learn.
Podcast.
Oversaturated.
Bro.
Thanks a lot.
Damn, wait. No.
I mean, we should just...
I don't feel like y'all oversaturated.
No, I mean,
I never did a podcast like this. So.
Okay.
This will be the last episode, folks, of the One More Time podcast.
It's been a good run.
It's been a good run.
We ended it with a bang.
I canceled this shit.
Yeah. We're going to go jump off a tall building now.
Right.
Yeah.
No. Last one, quality.
Control. Come on,
Okay.
man.
What a
Okay.
rampage.
Pop that shit like one more time. They pop that one more time. Pop that shit like one more time. They pop that one more time.